Hello and thank you for watching. My name is Heather Alexandra, and I'm here to talk critically about games. I've been getting back into Destiny recently. It's been a long time since I've played, and I mean a really long time. Back when I was playing, Vault of Glass was the only raid. Peter Dinklage was still the voice of your crazy little robot sidekick dude, and not everyone had a Soros regime assault rifle. I wasn't sure what to expect jumping back into the game. Some things had definitely changed. Leveling up was different, and I couldn't just pull out my trusty hand cannon Thorn and dominate everyone in the Crucible anymore. I wasn't sure what to do, so I fell back to what I used to do before I stopped playing the game. Patrol missions. Venus, Earth, wherever. I load up the generic roam mode, I stop worrying about progress or the meta, and I just explore. I collect items, complete simple missions, and fight the Hive or whatever group of crazy space baddies is causing trouble at any given time. And it's really great. There's a very simple ebb and flow to the process. A certain calm familiarity in retracing my steps around a map. I'm not leveling up too fast or getting all the hottest gear, but I don't know if I care. Like, I really don't care. If I need to unwind, I can just boot up the game, fly to whatever planet I want, and know that there's some type of stability and routine waiting for me at the end of the day. Repetition can lead to fatigue, but it can also be something meditative or calming. Now, games are not a unique medium in any sense of the word, but I do find that they've allowed me to create exciting routines, ways to relax that draw a lot of power from how reliably they can be recreated or reproduced. It's something I started to notice back when I was a QA tester for games, and side note, if that's something you want to do, go for it, but know that it's actually kind of a lot of work, so heads up there. Finding bugs can be really laborious, but there's also a certain flow to testing that's really exciting. And applying that to my day-to-day interactions with games has given me a lot of joy. Whenever I log into Grand Theft Auto Online, beyond all the gunplay, heists, and random events, I always do two things. To start with, I dive into the Alamo Sea and let the current carry me down one of the side rivers. It's a remarkably calm moment for a Grand Theft Auto game. It's a great experience. Every now and then there are some fishermen or hikers or whatever, but players rarely head out that way, and I can just float downstream and relax for a bit before I start more mayhem. I do this without fail every time I'm online. I know the various turns and falls of the river. I have a true familiarity with the space that can only come from repeated contact. The second thing I do is steal a jet from the military base. It's the first thing I ever did with my best friend when we started playing the game, and I do it even if he's not around. It can take a few tries, but repeating that process allows me to reconnect with my friend. Repetition is a key rhetorical device in games. It can generate comfort and familiarity. It can also emulate mood. This is VA-11 Hall A Cyberpunk Bartending Action. It's a crazy title. You play as Jill, a bartender at a hole-in-the-wall bar named Valhalla. The gameplay's pretty simple. You talk to the clients and make their drinks by mixing together certain ingredients. The act of mixing skirts the line between meditative and tedious. On one hand, it's the only mechanical constant in the game. It offers a constant and comfortable routine. On the other hand, the repetition is a way of representing how desperate Jill's situation is. She's stuck in a job, going nowhere, and caught up doing the same work day after day after day. This repetition is used in a couple of interesting ways beyond this. Some characters have preferred drinks. You begin to memorize the mixtures and the motions attached to them. It's a highly abstract way of getting to know player characters and having the player remember and connect with them. Mr. Donovan likes beer, which means that you'll spend a lot of time going through repeated motions when talking with him. It brings a certain degree of comfort, allowing the player to bond with the characters. In some cases, the player's given a little bit more freedom and you can make your own mixtures. In those moments, the player gets to be more creative, and this creativity is stressed by breaking the routine. Furthermore, major breaks from all the drink making highlight particularly intimate and personal interactions with other characters. So what the game does is it sets up a routine and shatters it when it wants to alter the mood in a relevant or important way. There's another bartending game that stresses mixology and routine as something with a great deal of power. This is Summon the Apgrod, an indie game by the designers Say Melusine. You play as a bartender in a nightclub serving beverages to ghosts. In this case, the repetition becomes a type of ritual. There's a mystical quality to mixing drinks, and the use of repetition elevates the affair into something sort of like mixing potions. And as the club fills up and changes around you and eventually erupts into music, the one constant that you have is the act of making drinks. You have something to fall back on as the world shifts around you, a ritual for maintaining a consistent relationship with the game space. In its worst form, repetition becomes grinding, but when it's done right, and when repetition is done in service of a game's mood or approached with the proper context, repetition can be very welcome. It can ground you in a space, connect you to a certain feeling, and provide a unique kind of comfort. You repeat motions and retrace space, regrounding your experience and managing your mood. So, yeah, if I'm playing Grand Theft Auto, I love pulling heists. But at the end of the day, I always return to my river.